Well, hello there, ye faithful few, and welcome back to DMS Adventures, where we have no fear of trying out cheap gear. So hey, who doesn't like finding a piece of gear that is just as good as the name brands, yet like half the price? Yeah, we certainly do. So in today's video, we're going to show you 4 instances where we found some budget bests and 4 instances where unfortunately we got a budget bust. So first up are the budget busts. Now number 1 on our list is the WAAO. What is it with these names of these off brands? Like, you can never pronounce them. I'm sure I'm butchering that as WAAO. Wow. Maybe it's WOW. Or is that an acronym for something? I don't know. The WAAO Flexible Adjustable Tripod. Now this is like one of those GorillaPod knockoffs. But I tell you what, it actually worked really good while I had it. Just with the way those little balls that connect together are, when you wrap them around something, you get a really good grip. However, it only took 1 trip and about 2 months before one of the arms just completely fell out of the main hub. So that one went in the trash. Bust. So that little tripod was $15. Thought I was getting a good budget deal there that ended up not working out. Number 2 on our bust list was the Wynex Recon chest bag. So I did a little bit of video on this one before. It was just a inexpensive chest bag. It came in at about $15 on Amazon, and it worked for a couple trips, and then as I was tightening down one of the straps around the bottom here, one of the buckles snapped.
And it broke?
Yes. Bust. Now I probably could have fixed that with some super glue or something like that, but just that's where I store my camera gear, and I really didn't want to mess with a potential bad break. So that was our gear bust number 2. Number 3 gear bust is the FIFINES 20-channel UHF wireless lavalier mic system. Now that came in at $28, and it was just a relatively inexpensive way for me to be able to be wireless with my mic recording and to hopefully improve audio. However, I had kind of nothing but trouble with that. It had an issue with sucking down batteries really quickly. It also had issues with dropping out at very inconvenient times. And since I have upgraded to the SARAMONIC Blink 500 system, I have not had either of those issues. Bust. And finally, our 4th budget gear bust was the Hohem iSteady Plus Gimbal. So that gimbal came in at $89. It was a 3-axis gimbal, so it had all the features that you'd want in a gimbal. However, I just had many issues with that particular gimbal, and 2 of the main ones were that its object tracking was not very good. It would track okay, but it would be very jerky in how the gimbal moved, and it was pretty much the same problem on its panning time-lapse feature, where it would just jerk across the screen, and it just did not look good. Bust. After upgrading to the DJI Osmo 3, both the object tracking and the time-lapse pan feature are just buttery smooth. So those were our 4 budget gear busts, and now on to the 4 budget gear bests. Number 1 on our budget gear best is none other than the BRS 3000 stove. So many people have been using this little guy, and it seems to have proven itself, and it has definitely proven itself for us. We have used nothing but this since we started doing this backpacking thing about a year ago, and it's never failed on me. Never had any issues with it. I've even been able to kind of like simmer with it a little bit, which I know others have said they've had issues with. But other than the things being a little bit floppy, on you sometimes. The overall performance of the stove has been fantastic, and this comes in at only $15.88. So budget gear best number 2 comes in a pair. These are the Sportneer camp chairs, and they come in as a pair for $56.70. So that's just around $28 per chair. Now, the thing going against these is they are a little heavy for backpacking, coming in at 2 pounds. I know there are backpackers out there that will take a chair that's only 1 pound. That's either the REI FlexLite Air or the Helinox One. So these chairs coming in at 2 pounds will turn a lot of backpackers off. However, we have used them at soccer games, we've used them for day hikes, we've used them for picnics. So even though we don't always take them backpacking, we have before, we get a lot of use out of them, and for $28, they are fantastic chairs. Did a review on those, so you can check that out right here. No, I lied. You can check that out right here. Our third budget gear best is a product that I just recently did a review on, and that is the Teton Sports Explorer 4000 backpack. So I got that backpack on Amazon for about $68, which is just a phenomenal deal for the quality and the use that I've gotten out of that backpack. I originally got it with the intent of just trying to find out if I even like backpacking, and although the pack is heavy, coming in at 5 pounds, for the money, if someone is just looking to get started into it and doesn't want to spend a lot right off the bat, that is definitely a pack I recommend, and definitely a budget best. Now, our fourth budget best item is definitely more interesting. It's kind of like a crazy character on a drama show where you never know what they're going to do. This budget gear best item almost ended up on my budget gear bust list, and here's why. The item is no other than the Trekker Tent 3. This item has got a ton of attention on our channel, and for good reason. I picked up this particular tent with 2 carbon fiber / aluminum trekking poles for $54.56. Now that is just an amazing deal for a 4-person backpacking tent. Comes in at 5 pounds. Sorry, I use my hands for numbers a lot. So the reason why it almost ended up on my budget gear bust list is a lot of people that are average schmoes like me that are looking to start off with backpacking, I think presume that when they go to buy a tent that it is going to be waterproof. Nothing could be further from the truth with this tent when you get it. You can check out my extensive review again up here, and it was just a saga of figuring out how waterproof this tent was. So if somebody's gonna see a good deal on a tent and snatch it up and unfortunately presume that it's going to keep out water, they are in for a very rude awakening with this tent. As in waking up in the middle of the night with a bunch of water on your floor. That's a pretty rude awakening. However, with a little bit of extra money in seam sealer and fabric spray, and a little bit of time put in, this tent has turned out to be amazing for us for only $54. Not only that, even though I didn't include it here, those 2 trekking poles that came with it are both great poles. They're about 10 ounces each. However, they have not failed. The poles are what keeps the tension in that peak of the tent, and there's a lot of pressure pushing down on those, and they've never failed on us yet. So even though you can consider it a budget best, just keep in mind that that only occurs if you put some time and a little bit of money into waterproofing it. Okay, you faithful few, that is all for our 4-item budget busts and 4-item budget bests. If you guys got any gear that you think are a good budget option for other viewers out there, please let us know down in the comments. And even if you've had some budget busts, those are sometimes fun to relate as well. Thanks for joining me today on this little budget gear review. I hope it was helpful for any of you out there. And more importantly, you all have a great day.